Hey, what's going on, everyone? I will be having quite a few videos coming out on obviously all the E3 stuff that we've been talking about. I don't know what order to put them in, but I thought I would just start with Banjo, seeing as I've done a recent reaction. I need to talk Zelda, Panzer Dragoon, but let's talk about Banjo, Kazooie, right? Timeless characters, created from timeless games that were pretty much perfected at launch. Some people might look at others' reactions to Banjo-Kazooie being included in Smash, a character who, let's be honest, hasn't been truly represented since the Nintendo 64. There are generations of people who most likely have no connection to this character whatsoever. Know that he hasn't essentially been around for decades, yet ponder at people's reactions and how they feel these people can still cling onto such a character and such an old character. The simple answer is, when the first Banjo-Kazooie game released, many people rated it over Super Mario 64. There are just, things that simply need to sink in there when you say such a statement like that. People rated it over Super Mario 64. So first, Banjo and Kazooie were brand new characters in a brand new game, and people were rating it over Super Mario and Super Mario 64 as a game. With Super Mario 64 still to this day being, in my opinion and many others, the most important video game release ever made in regards to its impact on 3D game design from that point onwards. To elaborate further on that, Banjo-Kazooie suddenly was rated as a comparable character to Super Mario, something that hadn't been done since Sonic the Hedgehog. All of this from a company, owned by Nintendo, who were at the time constantly reinventing the wheel and arguably, from many people, beating Nintendo at their own game. Whether Rare were influenced by prior Nintendo releases or not. So second, let me know how many other video game characters and video games since Mario 64 have had the same level of comparisons, not only to Mario, but also to the impact and quality of Mario 64 outside of the house of Nintendo. The answer is, in my opinion, none. None whatsoever. Not Rayman, not Ratchet and Clank, not even, bloody Crash Bandicoot. Just don't bother, because game design and character design wise, there is no comparison with Banjo and Super Mario. Not Jak and Daxter, not Sly Raccoon, not Meat Boy, not Gex, whoever you mention. And, no longer from that point, even Sonic the Hedgehog. Mario has been on a pedestal of quality and innovation that no other company outside Nintendo could touch. In came Rare, albeit a second party of Nintendo, but one given, for the most part, creative freedom to create their own IPs and not only learn from Nintendo's design, but like I said, for many, create a game or games that surpass Nintendo's output themselves, according to many people. Rare essentially out of the gate created what was, absolutely sensational. A game that was absolutely sensational. A 3D platform adventure that you could fire up today and it still plays, exceptionally well. Something, in itself that should tell you that some games are classics for a reason. Some characters simply become iconic for a reason and will remain in history as a symbol of its own achievements. But this is why people love video game characters like this. These are not generic avatars that can be copied and pasted into other games in similar genres. Their designs and move sets are too unique for that. These characters are these these characters that, design-wise were perfected on release, not just in themselves, but also in the worlds that were created around them, and the sound design, that accompanied them. I'm sure if you asked any video game designer to come up with an original composition that people would come familiar with and hum years after its release, or ask a video game designer to create a jingle or a unique sound similar to, say, the sound of Mario and Sonic collecting coins or rings, or the sound of those characters' jumps, or even the sound of their deaths. The types of sounds that if you played out the types of sounds that if were played out of context, a massive crowd of people could tell you exactly who that sound belonged to. I bet most video game designers would struggle, because these are not easy things to achieve at all, let alone stand the test of time and become iconic. And my reaction to Banjo-Kazooie, I was in a crazy place, and when the puzzle piece bounced across Donkey Kong's hut, I missed that. But watching it back, I would have got Banjo straight away then, once again because of the sound of that puzzle piece. Banjo-Kazooie achieved the same things, either with his, gah sounds, the cheer of the jingles as they get collected. The music, the fantastic music created by Grant Kirkhope, and even Banjo's death sounds, let me know how many of the same things can be said about the previous characters I mentioned earlier, outside of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I bet most of you would struggle. And of course, Banjo is not just a rare character, but he's in the hearts of many a Nintendo character, and a great Nintendo characters remain in the hearts of many for the reason, and even those characters who don't belong to Nintendo, remain in people's hearts. This is because there is something endearing about certain types of video game characters that have appeared on Nintendo platforms. That classic type of video game character. And through Smash Bros, you can see the love, the passion, and respect these characters are given. Even if they haven't been seen in decades, they can return, and gamers celebrate their return onto the stage. Sometimes, if not many times, looking exactly like they remember them, but even better, thanks to the care and attention put in by Sakurai and his team. And I look at comparisons of Banjo-Kazooie in Nuts and Bolts compared to Banjo-Kazooie's design in Smash Bros, and for me, it's just night and day. So it's not just nostalgia that keeps these characters alive, but a wealth of things that made them classics in their greatest days. And I, for one, hope that Banjo-Kazooie, continues to become more than just N64 and Smash Bros legends, because they deserve it. If not purely for a time with a single title being one of the few to stand against or with the industries and one of the world's most iconic characters ever created, which is Super Mario. Now, for Chrom's sake, just give us Banjo-Kazooie 3, because that's what we all really want and need. And I saw a statement from Rare, after this, I believe, where they said they didn't make Banjo-Kazooie 3 because they didn't believe it would sell. And when you see reactions to legacy characters like this being brought into Smash Bros, which is a fighting game, it's completely separate from where these characters were born. If you can get this type of reaction, then it's time to invest in these characters and have faith in these characters, that if you deliver them in the way that people remember, in a quality title, they will sell regardless of genre. They will just sell. But yeah, Banjo-Kazooie endures for these reasons, because he at one point in time stood toe to toe with Super Mario and Super Mario 64, and that in itself is just a great achievement that few other, if any other, video games outside of the house Nintendo can hold in terms of credit. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Banjo-Kazooie, whether you've played the games before, whether you've gone back recently to play the HD versions of these games, and of course whether you love Banjo-Kazooie, like me, and was as happy to see him in Smash Bros as everyone else. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for listening. I'll be back soon for another one as E3 continues to just make me happy. And when I say E3, mostly all the Nintendo news. But yeah, I'll be back soon. Take care all. Peace.